Hey guys, welcome to another time-lapse commentary. The first one I'm recording with an audio setup where I can hear my own voice when speaking, so that should make this maybe a little bit better. This is gonna be a bit of a longer one just because I can't be bothered to render out another, sped up version of the time-lapse, so we're just gonna go with OBS doubling the speed, which puts us at about a little over an hour. But yeah, so I figure with that we should get to it, but here's the final image. And where did I put it? Right. Whoops. I will fix that. That's supposed to be underneath. There we go. So yeah. Another bit of event piece, although it's kind of more of like therapeutic than I guess all vent art is in its own way therapeutic, but yeah. Turn the volume down a little bit. But yeah, it was more meant to be something like I can kind of use for myself. Look, like when I look at it, it's meant to be like I'm reassuring myself that even if I'm feeling like crap or whatever, feeling super anxious and stuff, it will pass. The sun is rising. That's kind of the theme. Daybreak is coming. So as much time as I spent on the expression, it actually kind of is just like something for me to remind myself that, hey, I'm going to relax. Whatever body ailment is bothering me is going to pass. Almost always stress related, you know. But yeah, so this picture is a little bit more, like I start out kind of messing around a bit, trying to get the pose right and stuff. Not a very messy construction process that I eventually edit into a sketch, which is, I know, my bad habit. I should do a separate layer for sketching, but it's kind of how my workflow goes sometimes. And yeah, I know I'm recycling this playlist, but I don't feel like having to build a new one for this picture. Especially because both pictures are kind of related to anxiety and feeling out of control. So I don't know, it seemed fine. But yeah, I know it's been a bit of a break since I last drew, because well, that's not entirely true. I've done like a thumbnail or two, and I think, oh, I also did one explicit pic more recently, so this is the first like serious picture I've done on the new setup, new computer and everything. I kind of flex the power a little bit here. You may have noticed in some of the past commentaries, if I was using a particularly large brush, there was some stuttering and stuff, and so it's actually kind of affected my workflow where I would like try to avoid using larger brushes, or when I did it, I'd do it much more in a more controlled manner, which you probably should anyways, but this is gonna kind of open up my options a little bit more, so that'll be nice moving forward. I mean, I kind of took advantage of that making the sky here, but yeah, I think the big effect is going to be complicated spray brushes where I have a lot of variability of things that I want to do with it, because those can get kind of intense fast. If it's a complicated brush tip or multiple different complicated brush tips and it's a spray brush, sometimes those can be kind of slow, even for, or they in the past could be kind of slow, but yeah, not anymore. I'll also say that, like, I haven't really done video editing until now. Making the 1 minute time lapse from a 2-hour video, if you can call that video editing. I'm surprised just how fast I can import things and work with it, with stuff. But rendering still is not lightning fast, so while I can rely on video editing programs probably to run better, I still don't know that I'm going to change my workflow up too much right now. Just because, I don't know, video editing is not where I find the enjoyment from this, and I'm not aspiring to be any sort of great content creator or a great, you know, YouTuber. My main focus is my art, even if I don't put enough time into it. A lot of that comes down to mental health and whatnot. It's easier to record a video, and I feel like that's the best way for me to be able to put myself out there, you know. I feel like I probably, like, I've sat down a few times to try and, like, make a series of videos delving into my anxiety, but I always chicken out and get too anxious, ironically. I should probably figure out how to do that at this point. Especially now that I've taken this more laid-back approach. I mean, I know I've been keeping more or less a solid schedule, except for Front Mission. We'll figure that one out. I've just been taking a break from it. I can't say that I'm never gonna play Front Mission 2 again. I think that would be untrue. However, I think maybe giving myself some time to get excited to play it again, especially, it might be better if I go and play Front Mission 3 or something, and then come back to 2. I'm not sure. I don't know. Like, maybe playing a better designed Front Mission and going back is not the way to do it. Not to say that Front Mission 2 is terribly designed, it's just from an earlier era. They were learning things. There are quality of life things in 2 that were not present in 1, to be fair. They definitely figure things out later. Anyway. I kind of struggle with the head shape here, because, like, I could not get the ratios and stuff the way I wanted it to. The body is just completely off, and I kind of gave up at a certain point because, again, this is kind of a venti piece. I mean, it's like the other one. Like, it's a vent piece that I ended up taking a while on, but not on getting the lines perfect. Which is, I know, weird, considering how much of this I do spend on, like, fiddling with the sketch here. But I don't know. I think, you know, sometimes a certain picture is gonna come together a certain way, and I just roll with it instead of backing up and trying to fix whatever the core issue is, because when it's a vent piece, it's like, it's not about getting it perfect, it's about getting the feeling that I'm trying to capture into it. And once I've done that, I don't want to risk losing that, but backing away. Maybe that's just an insecurity of mine, though, when it comes to making art. Gotta be willing to reset when it's necessary, but I don't know. I mean, for one thing, the muzzle's too big, and I think I addressed that here. I think I rescaled the head and everything. But even in the final image, I think the head scaling is just off. And it's fine. I do need to try and get myself more consistent, because, like, I think my style has improved since when I was doing a lot of art frequently, and I need to, like, get myself into a rhythm again, find the consistency, and then really just start making a lot of stuff, because I have projects I want to return to, and I don't feel confident returning to those projects until I'm in that sort of mode and flow with my art again. Also, I don't know why I was struggling so much with the ear here. I could not draw my own style for some reason. I think there's a certain part where I accidentally, because of Windows 11, there's the tab thing, and I accidentally opened Clip Studio Paint in one of those weird tab things, and it resizes everything, and it's gonna mess up the video a little bit, but I think things settle back down. I think it's somewhere around this part. Maybe it's a little further on. Yeah, you know, it might be when I was doing the lines. We're still on the converting this construction layer into a sketch layer now. But yeah. Let me see if I can. Okay, we're about 20 minutes into it. So about 10 minutes into this video. So we got a ways to go. Better move myself around a little bit to get comfortable. Relax. And consider what to talk about. Again, I would have tightened this video up a bit more, but, you know, I couldn't really bother to render something out again and just twiddle my thumbs. I mean, really, I could have worked on something else. As I have more videos to get ahead with. Mic turned right now? I can sit like this. I have to move my position a little bit. Thanks. Rotate. You know, I'm not gonna fuck with it. I'll just sit in my other position. Okay. But yeah. So, got RimWorld dropped. That seemed to do pretty well. So we'll see if the views keep up. Try not to place any expectations on the series, because sometimes a video will pop off for reasons that I can't discern, and trying to overly concern myself with that, with the whims of the algorithm, is probably neither helpful nor healthy. But yeah. Oh, yeah, the Discord thing with all the Mod 7. That's a mistake that I now understand and will not repeat, hopefully. Not intentionally, anyways, but I'll know to look out for it. Oh yeah, with the time-lapse here, the arm, getting the elbow to look, well, not the elbow per se, but the crook in the elbow where the arm bends and kind of get some flesh sticking out. Didn't have any references open for muscular references of arms, so I kind of winged it. Hopefully it worked out okay. I'm not one to claim that the anatomy in this picture... Ugh, hiccup. Not one to claim the anatomy in this picture is top-notch or anything like that. Always working to improve every picture, but yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to turn and look at my other big monitor and, like, see things to talk about from other videos. You know, it would be helpful if I could It would help me if I compress this tab. Alright. So, I was a little worried with, oh. When did the views on that pick up? That's nice. Okay. Red Dead didn't start with many views, but now it's gotten quite a few now, so that's good. I'm happy to see that. The episode 1 of Red Dead anyways. And then views not really keeping up with the later episodes, but that's okay. I am glad to see, just on average, more views. I hope, let me look to see if that is people coming back or if that's new people. I'd like it if it was more returning viewers than new viewers. Well, not more, but you know. As of yesterday, or the day before, 5 returning viewers. That's nice. I'm glad to see you get, there's a, starting to be a group of you that comes back. Feel free to join the Discord and chat with me if you're not already there. I know some of you might be people who are already in my community, but you're always welcome. I am really bad at direct interaction. Unfortunately, I'm trying to do better, so, you know, hopefully I can try and be around a bit, but sometimes it's actually easier for me to reply to comments and messages in video form for some reason. I don't know why I find that easier. But yeah. Oh, back to the time lapse, because I've kind of been ignoring it because it's so long. We got me working on the little hair flip on the side of my face where I'm trying to make it a little bit smaller. I think I was going big originally, and then I was like, no, it doesn't. I don't think it'd work that big. In general, my hair is not as big in this picture. It's kind of down a bit. I think capturing the mood a little bit. Plus, the rotation of the head kind of lends itself towards that. So yeah. But yeah, I'm thinking for All the Mods 7, I think I was gonna bring this up earlier. It might be the first series that I try switching over to like a streamed format and then like not really having a uniform length that I'm going to record. Probably trying to hit an hour minimum and maybe try streaming it concurrent with Lily or just do my own streams. I'm not gonna chain myself to her schedule. And just, yeah, be a little bit looser with that, not try and keep a regular, like, you try to get videos out somewhat regularly, but not, like, divorce it from the actual upload schedule, so to speak, because the schedule is, it happens to be keeping regular right now, but at any moment I can move things around. I'm reserving that right, because, if I don't, I'm going to stress out about keeping everything perfect. And I already have been stressing out a bit. But yeah. One thing I've been trying to wonder is, like, what should I play from the games that I own? Because I've spent many years with a weak gaming computer. Well, it was decent for its time. Both of them were decent for their time, but their time has long since passed. And so my game purchasing habits on PC tended to reflect the fact that I did not have a tremendous amount of power. And I don't want to drop a ton of money on new games either, so I'm trying to be careful about my choices. I also own a lot of stuff on console already, which, like, yeah, I can get a graphical upgrade if I purchase it on PC, but I already own it, or like I got it for free even with PlayStation Plus. There's a ton of stuff like that. And I don't even know if those have PS5 versions, so just getting a PS5 also isn't necessarily a solution. Some of them do, but not all of them. Most of them don't. I'm kind of graphic limited on the PS4 for stuff, which I think is fine. Personally, I don't take a major issue with that. But I know for the purposes of making videos, I should factor that in. I should probably... It's not a big deal. I'm not at a size of a channel that matters. And even if I was, I still don't know that I'm going to be the type of person that's going to, like, obsess about doing everything right. That's just never been the way I roll. I'd like to do everything right by my own rules and my own standards, not what is generally considered the best method. But yeah, so I'd expect to see All the Mod 7. I might still do videos, but maybe I'm gonna switch to trying streaming those. I'm a little anxious about that just because live interaction scares me, but maybe I'll make an announcement ahead of time, see if I can get people to show up for it. I'll at least do it concurrent with Lily to start, and maybe some other people, just so even if I don't have any viewers, and that's not going to be a stressful point, because it's just going to be a VOD on my channel anyways. But yeah. I'm not going to worry about it. It's not important. Just do it, and let what happens happen. Oh yeah, got a new series coming out. Well, I mean, okay, everyone knows what the next series is gonna be. Jak 2 ended, so you guys know Jak 3 is coming out around the corner. I've gotten a few of those up, recorded and uploaded, so look forward to that in a couple days. And yeah, I'm hoping people are liking the current series setup. I know there is a group of front mission watchers that are probably disappointed, but... And honestly, I wish I was doing a front mission series right now, but I don't want to start another one, and I can't bring myself to play 2. I want to play it where I'm happy playing it, you know? I don't want to be recording a game and being angry all the time, and that's kind of how it seemed like it was getting with Front Mission 2. I was getting annoyed at design decisions. And there are certain things that if they're going to do a remake, I mean, okay, it's not really a remake, it's just a remaster. But if they're even going to do a remaster, they can tweak, like, how the menu works for certain things. Or, like, they've been doing balance updates and stuff. So if their intention was to capture the balance of the original game, they've already abandoned that. I've already seen stuff that did not align with guides that I've read from the first game with how things work in this one. So why they've made some of the decisions they've made baffles me. Because it seems like sometimes they're trying to keep the sanctity of the original game, even if it means really dumb design decisions. And other times they're just rebalancing things for the hell of it. Like, okay, maybe it's making certain things easier, but like, if it's one mission's easier, it's like a little easier to get through versus, I don't know, let's say you have to do an arena fight in an area that you can't access the shop with no warning that's coming up. And you have to beat the arena, what, was it 5 times? That's just not... That was a bad decision back in the 90s. Even. I would say that was questionable. And, making the decision to keep that be how the game works if that even was how it worked in the 90s. I don't even know if that was a mistake or not, but... And I know it's not that big of a deal. Just sit down, like, spam the arena and get through it, but... It's indicative of the state the game is in my mind, and that I'm going to keep running into that type of problem. So I need to be, like, zen with that reality and continue forward with Front Mission 2. Because I do think it's very compelling, although the fact that you can't get more experience between missions, you can only get more money from the arena, you can't do anything else. That's a concern, admittedly. So we'll see how that goes. I also don't know if I should look up things through the network, because it kind of feels cheaty. Then again, if the game's not giving me any slack on progression otherwise, I should probably take what I can get and see what I can get from the network stuff. Because like I'm not the biggest sort of like ARG puzzle solver type person, and so I'm not going to be able to figure all that stuff out on my own. Frankly, I probably got farther than I expected to with that. And I don't think you guys just want to see me sit around and plug random thoughts and ideas into the network and hope that something works, especially with how frustrating the typing is. So we'll if I go back, I'll probably have a list of things. I'll figure out what I can get from the network and how it can help me. Or if it's all just lore, then I'm not gonna bother. Well, I might bother. I don't know. I like Front Mission world building, but... Oh yeah, we are well deep into the line layer, and I just not been talking about it. Yeah, I'm trying to be a little bit more careful and like add a little more detail with the lines, but I guess the anatomy's not so bad. That arm is a little weird. My thought is that the wrist is turned so that the base of the hand is like just like the ball of the hand. So we're not like the heel of the hand, heel of the palm is like just is facing the viewer and just out of view. Oh, there we go. That's when I messed up the window. Because I got an ultra wide monitor, so it I often use those tabs, and I just clicked on the wrong window by accident when I was moving stuff around. I think I was trying to open OBS, and I clicked on Clip Studio, which was right next to it, and looked similar because it was recording. OBS was recording Clip Studio. So. But yeah, enough about Front Mission. You know, the thing is, I have like more series that I want to get to too, but like, I really know that I'm gonna get in hot water if I try to run more than like 4 series at once. Not hot water, but just like, I feel like people are gonna be like, come on, put out the next video, because like, waiting a week for, well, I mean, they're 1 hour videos. I guess waiting a week for 1 hour video updates, not crazy. There's certainly creators I watch that do schedules like that for Let's Plays, or like shorter video content too. So I guess I could get away with up to 7 concurrent series, not counting things like Warframe, or I guess All the Mod 7 would join that list of things that just get sporadically posted. Warframe's another thing that I could probably try streaming. Only with people again. If I'm doing solo stuff, I'm probably just gonna record for now. Just because, anxiety. I'd also like to do, Civ. You know, one game that actually I could run a playthrough on I never got around to finishing or even getting out of Act 1 or Baldur's Gate. I kind of let, like, we were doing a playthrough with a friend, and like my boyfriend and I both kind of like, we got that playthrough. We'll just let our current playthroughs, we'll get to it. And at the time, the computer I was using barely ran Baldur's Gate, so the idea of recording it was completely out of the question. Now, I can totally record it. I don't know if I'd have to take a graphics hit or not, but it would still look great, I'm sure. So, that's on the table for another series. But, again, I got so many other games I want to play. I want to get a hold of Ace Combat Zero at some point. And, like, if I can figure out how to get and play Ace Combat 6, that'd be cool. I'm not sure how I'd do that. I think we technically own a 360 somewhere. I'm not sure. I've never used it. I think my boyfriend's uncle gave it to him or something at some point. I could be wrong about that. It could be like a normal, like an old Xbox, but actually, I think it's a 360 game. I think. Not sure. But yeah. Ace Combat 4. If I need to get a new copy of that because my copy is busted. Again, I could also emulate this stuff, especially now. It should be a little bit easier to emulate things with a tougher computer, editing and recording at the same time. Especially a PS2 game. This 4 is pretty good. I will say 5 is when there's a shift in how the storytelling is done. Actually, I don't know if 0 came out before or after 5. 0 is also similar in how they approach the storytelling. Not to put 4's story down. 4's got a good story. It's just the involvement of the main character in the story, like, you end up having more of the sensation of there's several different stories going on, and you're bouncing back and forth between the story. Like, I can use 5 and 7 as an example, because you guys have seen that, and don't know why notifications are on. I turned them off, and they turned themselves back on, I swear. Boy. Notifications, turn off. Okay. Right. With let's say 5, Ace Combat 5, for example. You are told the cutscene stories from the perspective of Jeanette, the reporter, who's with the Sand Island Squadron, but you play from the perspective of Blaze, the squadron leader. It's like that, except in 4, the story is being told by someone completely disconnected from the main character. The only connecting point is the antagonist, so to speak, of the game is connected to the main character in the cutscenes, and then you play as the unnamed Mobius One, who, you know, you have your own kind of story going on, but it feels much more disjointed. I like it when they're connected more. It's very much Ace Combat's style to have the cutscene character and the main character as two different main characters. Like, 7 actually does kind of go into this, because with 5, Jeanette's pretty much always keeping up with and following whatever Blaze is doing. Whereas in 7, Avril, like, for half the game, is on Tyler Island when Trigger is... Like, when Trigger's with the LRSSG, Avril is in a completely different sort of plot going on. So... And, like, they connect back up again when they go back... When the LRSSG goes to Tyler Island, but... It's kind of like that, but for the whole game in 4. But then again, like, this is distant memories at this point. I have not played 4 in a while because I was a child, and I did not respect my discs as a child. Frankly, I did the same thing to 5. The only reason I can play 5 is that they re-released it when 7 came out on PS4. I think you got it for free. Oh. And personally, 5 was always my favorite. So. I need to play 0, though. I've heard that it is fantastic, but it's much darker than the other base combats, which are already fairly dark. But I guess it's more of like a... It's not as uplifting of a story, I suppose. But I don't know. I only know bits and pieces about it. So, yeah, that's on the to-do list. Looks like we've gotten through the coloring phase. I am kind of trying to tone the colors back a little so I can, as I've noticed how I've been shading in the past has kind of ended up blowing out the highlights and making them blend. And I was trying to figure out, like, how can I fix that? And also, people probably think I oversaturate everything anyways, but I like oversaturated colors. Makes me happy. But this picture, it made more sense to mute it a little. Just a little. Plus that lets the lighting work out a little bit better. So. And then, yeah, I didn't even really know what the background is going to be going into this. Exactly. Like, I knew I was going to draw me anxious, and then from there, how I handle that and address that was something I kind of felt my way through as I drew this. Like, unfortunately, the brush that I wanted to use for the grass in the background, that seems to be another casualty of the computer transfer. I can try again, but the last time I opened Tigerbox up, which is the name of... I've named my computers, and Tigerbox is the art computer I use. The last time I tried doing that and transferring materials over, I think I may have corrupted all the materials. So glad I don't have to rely on that computer anymore, but bad if I want to try and recover anything. So, oops. And for context, materials, it's like, it's all the assets, like the pictures that make up the brushes, like what a brush is. A brush is essentially one image repeating for every like movement of the brush, and you can kind of calibrate that. And like the program also kind of handles it, so like for a brush like a pen, it makes a smooth line. But you can kind of see what it's doing if you turn on color jitter, because then it'll actually like a speckle even that. Well, it might be faking it with that, I'm not sure. Vector brushes are different than raster brushes, though. I think that's how rasters work, whereas vectors, it is determined... Basically, you're drawing out what is effectively an equation, and then the computer backfills that with... along this equation, there is a line of this thickness at this point. And, like, it's not that it's not that it's a fixed point like it is with raster. It varies, so you can scale the thickness and stuff. Makes vector very useful. Even though Clip Studio is not technically a vector art program, I can't save a vector file. Or maybe I can. I haven't tried that in 3 years, 4 years. So I just assume you still can't. But you still have vector layers, which if you use Clip Studio, I strongly recommend you experiment using vector layers if you haven't done so already. Like very strong, like it's probably the biggest recommendation I would make for any artist who does lined art is experiment with vector layers, because they are very powerful and you need to figure them out and how they work first, but they will allow you to adjust and manipulate things and scale things completely cleanly. They scale perfectly because it's just a formula. The computer then figures out what the line's supposed to look like. So you're not going to get pixelation with them until you rasterize the layer, if you ever do. Which, on export, is when I usually am doing that. Because exporting it to a PNG obviously rasterizes the image. But it also, it's not perfect for making bucket fills, but bucket filling works so much better with rasters. Or no, so much better with vectors. And the erasing, you can set an eraser to just clear an entire line between two other vector lines, and it'll just delete the whole thing cleanly. Occasionally there's very rarely you'll have like a really thick line that kind of bubbles over, but the line isn't technically over the line. And you can just erase that with a alpha brush, which technically adds, kind of funny, it adds a brush stroke. A vector line is there that is set to alpha layer. So bubbling around that to the thickness of that line is alpha on that layer, deleting it. It's weird, but it works. But yeah, I can't stress enough how useful vector layers are for doing line work. But anyway, enough about my vector line or vector layer process. What was I talking about before? Got off on the vector art thing. I'm certainly not a vector artist. Adobe Illustrate hurts my mind. It's all vectors. And it's just not how I... But I probably would be a lot better at it now. I mean, I was already using vector lines before that, but I think I have an even better appreciation and understanding, because like you can grab and manipulate and redraw vector lines. Like redraws in, the line stays down, but you can just kind of redraw it to adjust its shape a bit, rather than like delete and draw and stuff. And you can like you saw earlier, I was resizing the lines because some of them were kind of thick, and I wanted to have a more consistent feel to the lines. But yeah. Let's see, how are we doing? We're at 1 hour and 26, so 44 minutes into the recording. Okay. So we got a cool 50 minutes of video, or 25 minutes of this video that I'm recording. Okay. Let's see. What else to chat about? Well, let's see. Okay. Right, I'd want to do Baldur's Gate, but I don't know when that would be. What are some other series I've been thinking about? Some Mario games, the 3D Mario games. I'd have to figure out how to get the Wii set up here to do, if I ever want to do Galaxy 2. I don't even own the Galaxy 2, though. That's, like, way down the line. Like, I haven't... So, my favorite Mario game is apparently controversial, because apparently every type of opinion can become controversial now, but it's Super Mario Sunshine is my favorite 3D Mario game. And by that point, it is my favorite Mario game, period. Because I prefer the 3D ones. I've never played Odyssey, but I would like to play Odyssey, but I would, you know, want to do Sunshine first. I've not really ever played Mario 64. I know that's going to be a rough one to play, but I still should play it. Oh, is this is the shadow work that I ended up abandoning, huh? Yeah, don't get too invested in these shadows, because I ended up deciding I didn't want them. Galaxy I played, but I don't know if I played it to completion originally. So I own it twice, because I got the, that overpriced All-Star pack when that came out, and was, like, only available for a brief time or something. I didn't care. I was willing to pay it. I was the saps they were looking for, the people that were nostalgic for Sunshine and didn't have a console I could play it on, that, like, without digging out my GameCube and hoping I had a functional controller and everything that I could find. Which I'm still not... I could probably order all the parts to use my GameCube again, or the Wii as a GameCube. Either way. But I just don't feel like... I already have enough trouble trying to keep my other old consoles set up and going. Or being ready to go. Also, I'm trying to get the lighting to look a little better, but I just kind of give up on that too. Right here. Eventually. You'll actually see me get frustrated and just, like, swirl everything with the blur tool. Or not blur tool, liquefy tool. But yeah, I'd love to play through the big 3D Marios. Do that for the channel, but I got other stuff, like, I got, like, all the rest of Naughty Dog's games. Maybe excluding Crash games, and we'll see. I've just never really had a lot of experience with Crash games. I feel like the old ones may be a bit older than I'm looking for, in terms of games to play, because I think their gameplay is not amazingly complex, but that's also kind of judgmental. I've not really played them. On that theme, though, of older 3D platformers, my first one that I hold very fondly, Banjo and Kazooie, that's on the Nintendo, on, like, Nintendo Switch Online or whatever it is, expansion, which I have. So Banjo is definitely gonna end up in that line. I think a lot of those... So here's the thing. When I reach the end of Jak 3, there is a time slot. I kind of want the videos on the channel to be kind of broken up between different genres. I don't have a driving game, and that pains me. The only driving that gets done is when I occasionally play GTA for a vlog, and, like, these are kind of replacing the vlogs, as you probably have picked up on. In part because I couldn't think of what to talk about for this picture in particular for an hour. So I'm kind of bouncing between talking about the picture and talking about vloggy stuff. But yeah, driving games are big for me. So I always want to have one going, and The one I got my eye on isn't out, and I'm like, okay, do I boot up Gran Turismo? Do I get a set of Corsa to go actually like play through GTA 5? I had just played through on my own time last Saints Row because that came out on PlayStation Plus before it occurred to me that I could have done it for a video series. And that's okay, but it's not something I'd probably go back to. There's a lot of things that are higher priority. Maybe do the crew. I don't know. There's a lot of different things I could do. But there is one game. It's not out yet. I'm waiting for when it comes out. I don't even know if they've announced a release date, but I'm hoping it comes out before GTA 6 does. That GTA 6 is probably going to get played on release. But that's so far down the line that it's not worth thinking about right now. But what is it called? Why am I blanking on the name? I think it's because there's another game with a similar name that I'm completing it with. Resistor, right? Definitely gonna play Resistor on release. Jack X is going to take the first slot. I'm gonna use Jack X as kind of like, okay, we have a driving game. It's probably gonna take me a bit to get through that, but I will launch off from there. We'll establish a new time slot. But that previously was the time slot that was being used for 3D platformers. Because that's what Jack is. Yeah, the shooting stuff is a factor, and like, you can argue that as the Jack games progress, they're less platformer, more driving game. Certainly that I would say Jack 3 is probably equal parts, if not more, driving game than it has been platformer so far. But I think as the game progresses, there's more platformer sections. Either way, I love Jack 3. I think Jack 2 is fine, but like, it definitely is trying to be things that it, like, the mechanics of Jack 2 they finally feel like things are coming together and working well in Jack 3. Jack 2 feels it's overly difficult compared to 1 and 3, and yeah, I don't know. Like, they were experimenting, and I appreciate it, but it's definitely the weakest of the trilogy. But it means that I need to pick up another platformer, and then I've said I'm going to do the Nathan Drake games, or the Uncharted games. Yeah, same difference. But modern platformer, classic platformer, I have to call them modern ones, like parkour games. Like, Assassin's Creed kind of, I think, established that genre. Never played any single Assassin's Creed game, by the way. I guess it's blasphemy to some people, but well, maybe that's something I'll experiment with in the future, but we'll see. But like, you know, the Uncharted games, Horizon games, Assassin's Creed games, a few others that kind of, I guess Mirror's Edge kind of was the thing that sort of also kicked that off. I don't know which came first, but that's like the first person version of that, where platformer became parkour. And I can't exactly articulate, because I'm sure there are games that straddle the line, but there's not really platforms so much as there is scalable walls when it comes to the difference between them. And it's not so much about whatever. You don't need me to get into a weird debate with myself about platformers versus parkour games. They're all technically platformers, probably, but I want to keep playing through classic platformers like Banjo and Mario, so I think... The thing is, I just don't have that many time slots. So that's the question. Because, like, okay, we want a tactical game, which we don't have a tactical game. Our Mission 2 is on hiatus. I guess RimWorld is actually kind of stepping up to the plate. It's not really tactical per se. Well, combat can kind of... You pause and adjust things and resume, and I have a few games that would fall under that category once we probably inevitably die in that run. This is good. RimWorld's going to be treated a little like a hardcore series, where it's going to go until the colony dies, probably. However long that series is, I don't know. But I'm not going to probably pick it up immediately for a new run. I might. If like we die in episode 2, I'd certainly not just leave it there. I've only recorded 1 episode so far. Though I'd have to really fuck up to die that quickly. Not to say I haven't done that before. I have certainly made dumb decisions and lost a colony early on. I am no expert RimWorld player. Far, far from it. But I do have RTS-y, pausable RTS games, I guess call them. Like, games that are technically real time, but you can play them like a turn-based strategy, which I'm fine with. So the whole Creeper World games, and that's kind of a not well-known series, but that could fill the tactical slot for me as well. Civ could as well. I could do a single-player run of Civ. And, like, single-player Stellaris, you can also play like that. I don't know that I'd get any deeper into Paradox games beyond Stellaris. Stellaris is already too much for me. So I'm not committing to recording that. It'd be more likely to show up as a stream with friends. But not as a video series, if I had to guess. Like, there's a very specific type of tactical game I enjoy, and Paradox is a little beyond that. So yeah, let me run through. So we have Dungeon Crawler, which right now Dark Cloud is in that slot. Warframe kind of also can occupy that slot. I don't actually have a lot of like RPG dungeon crawlery games that I would go to. I guess I could do like, I guess, okay, Dark Cloud leans more into dungeon crawler, but I'd say that any sort of RPG, action RPG, like hack RPGs lean the other way, but like action RPG slash dungeon crawler slash JRPG, like any of that, I kind of fit into one category. Same way that I would fit parkour game, all that. Then you have something like Red Dead, which I guess it's my shooter right now. Weirdly, it's I forgot the name of it. It's an action game. It's not RPG. It's what, simulator? Is that what they call it? I think that's a dumb name. It is not what it is, but whatever. I've heard it described as such. But like, it's action RPG without the RPG, I guess. Oh hey, that timing worked out for Spotify there. I guess we're nearing the end, since I think these are near the end of the playlist. But yeah. I guess that's occupying the shooter slot, because shooters are also something I've dumped a ton of time into gaming. Not really how I would classify it, but having Dark Cloud out at the same time as this, if they're both kind of occupying the action slot, and then also doing Warframe, I don't know. I guess I shouldn't be too concerned about different genres. It's just, in my mind, if I don't break it down into categories of games to play, I'm going to end up having so many concurrent series because I'm going to want to share everything. We'll get to a bunch of stuff. It's fine. It's just that, like, I have most of the slots are, like, being occupied by franchises, and it's going to take so long to get through everything. And I'm impatient about this stuff, and I want to do more. It's like, one of the slots is on hiatus with Front Mission, and then I got Dark Cloud is not anywhere close to being done. We're still very much in the beginning of Dark Cloud 2, and then Rogue Galaxy is going to follow that, the unofficial Dark Cloud 3. Then I've considered looking up some of the other games from Level 5, the White Knight Chronicles. They don't have the best reviews, but maybe they're just underappreciated. I don't know. I don't know anything about them, so I can't really make a judgment call on that. But I've also wanted to put Zelda games into that slot, and a few other things that could also go in there, so I don't know. There's certainly a need for more Nintendo content, I feel like. Since I'm only using my Switch at the moment to play Front Mission 2, like, which means I'm not using it at the moment, but I want to be, because it's just as convenient, if not more so, than the PS4 is. It's equally convenient at this point, because the PS4 doesn't overheat anymore, because I blew it out. So, we will, we got a lot of stuff to get to. And I'm not really commenting on... So here, we're getting near the end. Here's where I'm messing with a new brush. It's not a new brush, it's actually an older leaf brush. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't have my normal leaf brush, a tall grass brush that I made. I may have even made it with this brush, I'm not sure. You've seen it in some old pictures if you follow my art. So, I don't think I've ever actually used this brush in this way. You can't see it when I end up fiddling in the settings. I might try and display capture in the future just so you guys could see if I pull up stuff. I have such a huge monitor from my side monitor now that I can move my references around there. I don't have to pull things over into this monitor. I just don't want to, like, I don't want to have to think and worry about the recording while I'm doing these. I want to be very much focused in on my art process. But yeah, and I probably should have been talking about how I was doing the shading, because if you noticed, I did a ton of different little layers and fiddled around with stuff trying to get the look the way I wanted it to. It didn't. Especially that one piece of hair, I didn't realize what the problem was, and I'm watching the time lapse back, even when talking about other things. I think I know how it would fix it. I am going back now. But yeah. You can see my mouse moving around, probably in the menu, changing settings around. Yep, just getting it, adjusting the brush down. It'll pay off. I do end up getting the grass in a pretty good state, and then I have to kind of figure out how to light it in a way that feels good. Requires multiple layers. The one problem with this brush, sometimes the tail end of my brush stroke, like, adds a normally imperceptible twist to the end of a brush, but because of the shape of this brush, it ends up being a weird little, like, broken bit on the tip. You might see it from time to time when I usually trace it if I notice it. So we're It's not a perfect brush. It's useful for making grass in certain shapes, but when it folds over, it doesn't look so good. So I have to like manually draw grass like that, make a brush again. I'll get to it. All of my old brushes, I can manually make new and use as an opportunity brushes in general. It's another practice that I recommend artists pick up, because it has certainly elevated the way my art looks, and I feel a lot more proud when I have a brush that I made that looks good than when I'm just someone else's brush that looks reuse. And it's like, it ain't mine though. Like, yeah, I'm making something cool with it, but if I made the brush, then I feel a lot prouder of the final outcome, how it looks. So like, yeah, this is a very simple brush. It's literally like a circle cut in half between white and black. And then you set, when you use a grayscale or black and white layer, you can then use that as a color brush where the primer, for your primary and secondary colors fill in black and white, or whatever, white and black. I think it's black and then. And it's a little confusing to start off with so many settings with brushes. I'm sorry, I'm kind of orbiting my mic, and I think I was probably not facing a good angle on it. Sorry about that. There's so many settings that it's kind of overwhelming, but like, you gotta learn your toolkit, and one of the very important things to learn with Clip Studio is brush settings, I think. Granted, there is tons I still don't know. Especially, like, the world of auto actions confuses and scares me. Maybe one day I'll learn to take advantage of that, but I don't know if that day is going to be anytime soon. I have downloaded an auto action set. In fact, I probably am going to have to re-download that if I want to use it again. It's for making, like, liquid effects. Like, more convincing liquids. So I might have to look into getting that again, but I kind of feel like it's cheating, because it's like letting another artist step in and, here, let's just do this, let me apply all these settings to this. Yeah, you can, there's certain steps where you have to adjust, like, I don't know, how the texture or whatever, like the scale of textures and stuff, and amplitudes that are being focused on, but I don't even know how to make an auto action, or my use cases for doing such a thing. In fact, it might be useful for me to build auto actions to create, like, gradient combinations and settings to build out different types of skies. All right, got through it. I think it's among my better skies. Maybe not the best. I like it though. I think my line work ended up okay, even if my anatomy, especially with the scale of the muzzle, is not quite right. I tried experimenting a little bit with the general muzzle shape, adding the bump on the top of the muzzle, which is something that seems to be a repeating thing for actual otters, to try and, like, hone facial shape for me closer to how otters would look. I don't know. Obviously, concessions need to be made with anthropomorphizing, because I still want a human enough, like, brow line and eyes and things, and so you have to change some things around and figure out how to work stuff together. And that's seems to always be a process for me. I'm always trying to tinker, which is a problem if I want consistency. Like, I've changed the nose shape lately, and I don't know if I like it, because, like, you can see even with, like, my PNG tuber, it's my old one, which is, it's more detailed because I was fleshing it out, but this shape, I think, might be too canine, but then again, the heart nose shape is also kind of seeming canine. I think it depends on the type of otter whether they have a dip on the top of their nose or not. So like, I'm still kind of just feeling it out and trying to decide what I want to do. I mean, I am a North American river otter, so I should reference North American river otters, right? But I don't know. I'm still undecided on specific details, and I need to iron that stuff out if I want to go back and like make my comic. Anyway, you guys don't need me here rambling about that though. I figure I should probably get to wrapping up this video because it's already been quite long. We're pushing past an hour and 10 minutes, and the time lapse is done. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this and listening to me ramble about art and the channel and whatever. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy my art. If you do, feel free to, let me know. You're welcome to join the Discord channel. I am open for commissions. So if you're interested in commissioning me, reach out to me on Discord or like Telegram or email me. Any of those things. I'll have my link tree in the description. So that should have all the links you need for that. And yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys later.